Alright everybody, welcome back. So this past week, Gaijin went ahead and updated the red top missile, and it was overall a pretty substantial buff for it, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But first I want to talk about the Sea Vixen, which is, in my opinion, the quintessential red top user. Sure, you have the lightning, but realistically the Sea Vixen is what everyone thinks of when it comes to the red top. And the Sea Vixen is a pretty, unique aircraft in War Thunder. As far as I'm aware, it is the only fighter jet that has no gun option at all. You can carry 4 air-to-air missiles, you can carry some rocket pods if you really want to try it, but you get no form of actual guns. At its battle rating of 8.7 currently, that isn't a massive deal with the missile kit that it has, but it does leave it in a really awkward position. Because if you do wound up, getting caught out and your entire team dies, realistically, there's not much that you can do to actually, push a fight or clutch a game. Because you rely on targets either being unaware or simply unable to dodge your missiles, and an aware target that actually knows you're there and is going at a reasonable speed is going to be able to dodge every missile that you throw at it. The rocket pods also aren't really all that useful, to be honest. They got changed a while back, and so they actually carry the inertia of the aircraft whenever they fire, which makes them extremely difficult to aim. You can try running them if you wish to do so. I personally would not recommend it. I have had very, very little luck ever since they changed how the rocket pod, ballistics work, but I mean, hey, it is an option. It really is a shame though, because flight performance wise, I'm a massive fan of how this jet flies, especially at 8.7. It all around handles very well, it's quick for the battle rating, it has an exceptional thrust to weight ratio compared to other stuff at its battle rating. For example, take a look at this. This is the F-25 Sabre versus the Sea Vixen. And as you can see, it doesn't even get up to a 0.5 thrust to weight ratio with the F-25 Sabre, and this thing is up almost at, 0.71, 0.72. Very, very impressive. This, of course, does give you good acceleration. It also lets it climb very well, which, when you're a missile-armed interceptor, treats you very well. Even in RB, you can climb above pretty much everyone diving them when they're not paying attention, and that makes your missiles a little more effective than they otherwise would be. Is this plane going to be very meta? Is it going to be clutching a lot of games? No, but I was getting a lot of pretty high kill games, 4 or 5, maybe 6 kill games sometimes, although of course you will have to land to get yourself some more missiles. Speaking of missiles, that is of course where the big upgrade has come. So if you have used the red tops before, the old red top before the change was an okay missile for 8.7, but it had some pretty major issues. Now it did pull more Gs then, it was a 16G missile and it was pretty agile, but overall it was a much, much worse experience to use. Let me explain that. So first of all, I do want to get out of the way, yes, they did nerf the G pull on the missile. It went from 16 Gs down to 12 Gs. Now, 12 Gs is still pretty good for 8.7, but it's not as much as it used to be, and you can relatively easy outpull it if you do see the missile coming. However, in exchange for that, it got a whole lot more. For example, it now only takes the missile 0.3 seconds compared to 0.6 seconds previously to actually begin to start turning. So combine this with the lower thrust that has, it means there is less dead time of it flying in a straight line before it actually starts turning to engage people. Even with a lower G limit, it feels much more capable in those close-up shots than previously at actually hitting a target. And the missile actually has radar slaving as well. This means that you can use your radar and that wide seeker head, and then of course you can also use that 0.3 seconds off the rail to lead the missile in front of where the target may be turning. Say for example if they, switch directions, start to go the other way, and that can kind of compensate for the, relatively low G pull for that 12G missile. Now, they did also nerf the force of the booster from 36,000 down to 30,500 newtons, but the booster wasn't really the big issue before, it was the drag. And speaking of, they also massively reduced the amount of drag that the missile generates now. They dropped it from 3.8 all the way down to 2.075. And the missile feels so much better now than it used to. Speed-wise, honestly, it feels about the same, maybe a little bit better than it used to, even despite the reduction to that booster. And it also glides a whole lot further now. Previously, it probably had worse than the AIM-9B range. If you go back and look at my Lightning video that I made previously, I fired it at an F-104 or a Milan, I think it was a Milan, and it just fell out of the air. It could not keep going. Now, I'd reckon it probably has around AIM-9E, maybe a bit more than AIM-9E range, which for the battle rating is very respectable. So this leads us to a missile that sure pulls less, but it now has much more energy than before. It can actually hit targets because of that and maneuvers faster off the rail. And it also has some limited all aspect capability, as you can see just right here, and that 0.3 seconds really does help it with that. So if you didn't know, the reason for that is actually because of the range bands of the missile. So I'm going to pull up the IR Seeker right here, and you can see they have all different range bands. These all govern the sensitivity to different aspects of the missile, like for example, all aspect heat, rear aspect heat, its sensitivity to IRCCM, but the one that we are interested in right here is range band 7. And this is the missile sensitivity to afterburning heat. So if a target has its afterburner on, in theory, you should be able to hit them head on. It depends on how hot they are. This value right here says 2,500 meters. Most of the time, I've been getting locked at around maybe 1.5 kilometers or less, depending on how hot the target is. But it can actually come in very useful, especially when you're fighting stuff like F104s, for example. And speaking of, you can actually kill F104s fairly easily with this thing now. The missile just kind of couldn't catch up to them previously, and now it can. That's not to say they can't, outroll it or actually just dodge it in general. They are still capable of doing that, but the Sea Vixen is now actually a relatively good, F104 killer. And if any of y'all know, the F104 is kind of the scourge of 9.3. It is absolutely terrible to fight. Overall, though, the Sea Vixen is actually in a really good spot now, and I'm actually quite a big fan of this aircraft. I played it a ton back when it was 8.3 and absolutely busted, and now it feels like it's back in a pretty good spot, though not as busted as it used to be, of course, back when it was 8.3 with pre-drag nerf 16G red tops. This is personally the plane that I would recommend right now if you're trying to grind out the tree, even though it only goes up to rank 6. It's so much better than, say, for example, the F4J UK at rank 7 in terms of enjoyment, that in my opinion is very much worth it. I would just use this to grind to rank 6 and then slap a talisman on this E-Harrier, for example. On an unrelated note, I have some pretty big channel news that I am super excited about, and I've been wanting to tell y'all. I finally can. I was accepted into the Gaijin Revenue Share program, which means that I now have a discount link. If you check my description out of this video, if you need to get something and you want to get 3% off, feel free. It helps me out and y'all get a discount. Now, keep in mind, you do not get a decal yet. My decal is in the works, so pretty soon you should be able to rock your new legal. I'm sorry, no, it's cringe. I don't know how long it'll be. I'm hoping it'll be in the game in the next few months, but just keep in mind, you will not get the decal right now. And even if you purchase it now and the decal gets added in the future, you will not get it activated on your account then. You would have to make another purchase once I get the decal to actually have the decal on your account. So if all you care about is the decal, wait. Feel free to use it in the meantime if you want to get a discount. It helps me out and you get 3% off, but just keep that in mind. In any case, hope y'all enjoy the video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below, and yeah, I'll catch y'all next time. So, peace, y'all.